Rick, it's good to see you.
Hey, Keith, good morning.
Thank you, man. Hey, I thought maybe that you could offer a few tips to experience joy every day.
Well, okay. I really like that topic because I think we all need, especially me, I need this. I need sort of a guideline of a few things that I know work for me that help me get past a bad mood. I'm very prone to bad moods, and I think it's because when I was a kid, I mean, like a young man, say 14, 15, 16, I was getting the idea that in order to be taken seriously in life, you had to be melancholy. You had to be
Mm,
sort of like an Irish poet, where optimism was for kids, and this feeling of dark, ominous presence was the way to go. So I didn't realize that for 20 years, I was stuck in melancholy, and I couldn't figure it out. And it was this idea, this corrupt idea that I had to be a certain way, and dark was it. Anyway, so getting past that has been a challenge and part of my journey. But I always find myself, even if I didn't have that past, I would still find myself in situations where you feel like life is getting the better of you. And so, what I try to do is I remember a few things that work for me. And I was telling you off camera, I start out with this list changes all the time. You start out with maybe 10 or 15 things, and five of them don't work, or three of them only work in certain situations. My point is, I keep refining that. I keep going over it and over it and over it. And so I wanted to share with you and the others about what I've found to be helpful for myself. And that is, I think number one is to center. And
mm.
by centering, I mean doing something practical, like closing my eyes, just closing my eyes, sitting still for, say, 5 minutes in a place where you're not going to be interrupted, and just taking deep breaths and do like a 1-4-1 breathing. So it's like inhale, hold for four, 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale. And then do that maybe 3 times in a row. Again, close your eyes in a safe environment where you're not going to be interrupted. Sit still for just 5 minutes. Take some deep breaths. That's it, just 5 minutes. You don't have to continue to do the deep breathing. Just take that break and see if that helps. So that's been one thing that's helped me quite a bit. The other thing is I've aged. This has been a normal thing of aging for me, and I like it, which is I tend to do things more slowly. So if I can do something slowly and deliberately and completely, it's much more satisfying than if I'm trying to multitask and do 15 things at the same time. In the old days, I used to think that was a sign of productivity and efficiency where I could accomplish. They were all half-assed. I mean, the things that I did in that way, they weren't done with heart and with power. They were done to get an off the to-do list. And I think that's a mistake. So slow, deliberate, complete. That's sort of the mantra for my age right now. And then one more I'll give you, and that's again just my thing right now, and that is to be present. To
Mm.
be present, right? I mean, to look at somebody in the eye and listen and not formulate what you want to say. Just listen, just be present, and just be in the now. When we hang up today, I'm going to go outside and I'm just going to walk around my backyard for a while because I haven't been home for a while. And I'm going to look at the leaves on the ground and see a rock that, was in a different place before I left. And I mean, the point is that being present, that practice of being present is a reminder that you're in a moment of your life that's never coming again. Never coming again. You're spending it just like you spend $10 when you buy a Starbucks double cream mocha hold of cheese, right? I mean, it's that ephemeral. It's that fleeting. So why not enjoy it? Why not go out there and suck the life out of that moment by being present?
Yeah.
And it doesn't take fireworks. You don't have to drive a Porsche to experience a wonderful moment. It can be just as simple as recognizing, knowing that you're symptom free. I
Yeah.
don't have any pain right now. Holy crap. What a magnificent turn of events that is,
Yeah.
right? Anyway, those are three things that I think are very, very helpful and often hard to do, but they all have one thing in common, And that is getting outside yourself, trying to eliminate some of the stimulation that we so thrive on nowadays. And by God, put that phone away.
Mm,
Phone away
yeah.
just for a little bit. Okay. I know everybody's run by the phone and my boss and my kids. I got it. But put it away a little bit every day, a little bit of time. The world will still spin, guaranteed.
Rick, I love that. Thank you so much. I'll just close with I love that, and to take those moments from the breathing, just like you said, with the deep breathing and that exercise of counting to four, followed by 5 minutes of just, of just being quiet, just being still and taking that time. I mean, all your tips were just really, really phenomenal in being present. When you mentioned the part about melancholy, I just thought about that. When I was in the sixth grade, I had this teacher that I wanted attention from. And in my mind, I must have had the same kind of, thinking that you had at the point at that time, was that if I was quiet and didn't say anything or looked like I was sad, that I would get attention from her. And so I would come in and she'd say, "Hey, Keith," and I'd say, and I wouldn't much. I wouldn't pay attention. I would pay attention, but I wouldn't say much, wouldn't offer anything if she'd ask someone to answer a question. And in my other areas of my life, I was doing the same, you know, uh, unhealthy behavior. I was doing the same thing, and people were like, "Keith, what's wrong?" Like, "Oh, let me get you something. What's wrong with Keith, guys?" And all this other attention I was getting. And she said, "Keith, let me talk to you after class." After class, she said, "This thing you're doing here, I'm not doing that." She said she was hip to it, Rick. She's like,
That's cool.
like, I'm not doing that. She said,
That's great.
if you don't stop doing that, right, first of all, you won't work here with me. And what you will start to get from me is absolutely the opposite, because I'm not going to enable this behavior. And if you don't stop it now, this will become how you live your life, wanting people to give to you and cater to you and feel, and punish people when they don't do it, and then act like, it's nothing's wrong, but all you want is you keep craving this from them. Like, it's not outside you, it's inside you, and I will not be a party to enable that behavior.
Uh,
Her name was Mrs. Scales, man. This woman taught me so much in sixth
that's
grade. And so I let that go, thankfully. Otherwise, that behavior would have continued. So thank you so much for those tips, Rick, of a few tips to experience joy every day when you're not feeling your best. I appreciate it, Rick. I love you.
I love you. And to Mrs. Scales, man, that was powerful. That's really a great, great example of what teachers can do for us.
Absolutely. I love you, Rick.
I love you, Keith. We'll see you next time.
See you next
Adios.
time. Adios.